Good Baltimore morning. Thank you for joining us. My name is Kira Wisniewski, and I have the distinct pleasure of being the host and co-organizer of Creative Mornings Baltimore. We're so excited to be coming to you live this morning from Adorn Vintage Furniture on the ancestral land of the Piscataway people in Baltimore City. I'm so glad you could be with us this morning virtually. But before we get started, I want to say out loud, Black lives still matter. We're happy to offer ASL from our friends Lauren and Anessa at HASA. Also, we're dropping in the chat right now a live captioning of our program today through Otter AI. If we're going to truly live up to our mantra of everyone is invited, we always have to try to increase our accessibility. For many of us, our work, our friendship, our fitness, even our therapy is all online right now. And I know that it can be tempting to multitask, just to respond to that handful of emails in your inbox. But I'm hoping that you can spend the next 45 minutes or so together uninterrupted. You deserve this. Take a deep breath here together. Give yourself permission to be here fully and with other creatives right here in our community. So thank you again for joining us this morning, whether it be by YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, on Periscope. We would encourage you to engage with us and each other through the chat. We'll be able to post your comments live from YouTube and Facebook right here on the main feed. I also want to encourage you to hit that share button right now on whatever platform you're on. So I'll wait a beat just to let you do that. Go ahead and click that share. Get your friends in on here. So Creative Mornings Baltimore is one of over 200 chapters around the world, and what unites us is that we all believe that everyone is creative and everyone is invited. We're one of dozens of global events happening today, so one more time, please go ahead and hit that share button. And please tag us at Baltimore_CM on your favorite social media platform. We'd love to see how this looks on your side and where you're joining us from this morning. And we know that this cannot replace the IRL event, but we also want to hear what you think of today's event. So please slide into those DMs, shoot us an email at baltimore@creativemornings.com. I really love actionable feedback, so please don't be shy. We have Anita and Arlene, wonderful Creative Mornings Baltimore volunteers that are engaging with y'all in the chats and encourage you to also join in the dialogue there. Hey, y'all. Each month, we like to ask someone special to read our manifesto. And according to our data, today's special someone has registered for over 40 Creative Mornings Baltimore events over the years. Today, we have the honor to welcome Salvador Montes de Oca. He's a design director, a runner, and a father, and we're so lucky to have him be part of our community. Please welcome Chavo to read the Creative Mornings manifesto.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. Here we go. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery in action, honesty, and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others, and virtual hugs and digital high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you so much, Chavo. Creative Mornings is run on an engine of generosity made possible by our volunteers and fueled by companies and people that believe in this community, people and companies that give a damn. Creative Mornings Baltimore is 100% volunteer run, so shout out to today's dream team, Mario, Winston, Henley, Sean, Sabina, Anita, and Arlene. Thank you so much. We also wouldn't be where we are today without our lovely and beloved partners. And we're going analog thanks to one of those partners. So thank you to our sustaining partner, Alpha Graphics, for that. I've said it many times before, but on a very personal level, one of the greatest things about Creative Mornings Baltimore is the opportunity to work with some of my favorite local businesses, including Adorn Vintage Furniture, where we are right now, and where you also can be every Saturday from 10 to 4. Come check out things that Raina is bringing and curating each and every week. We also have Alpha Graphics, who we've mentioned, who did these lovely analog slides. So we're not doing PowerPoint slides right now, which is super chill. We have Local Color Flowers. who you'll see an arrangement right next to Alanah in just a hot minute. I can't see which one that one is. Hasa, who's providing the ASL today. Impact Hub Baltimore. If you're looking for a space to get out of your house and work in a safe environment, holler at them. Which one is that? White Tea Company. They're at Whitehall Mill. Delicious, delicious teas. And of course, Pixelated Photo Booth. They've been doing a lot of cool stuff too in this virtual world we're all in. And then MAP, Maryland Art Place. They're our fiscal sponsor. So shout out to them. And then globally, we are sponsored by MailChimp and Basecamp and Skillshare. So a special thing right now for Skillshare is that they're offering all Creative Mornings Baltimore attendees 1 month free. So Henley's putting a banner up now. Anita or Arlene are dropping it in the chat. Very cool that you can get 1 month free right now from Skillshare, but you have to sign up by Sunday, the 31st. That's the only catch there. So go ahead and open that in a separate tab right now and do that after the talk. We're also dropping into the chat the list of all the wonderful sustaining partners that we've had since we started the reboot of Creative Mornings Baltimore, and really encourage you to support them now more than ever. They really need you. So whether that's actually buying their goods, which of course, big ups to that. You can also follow them on social media, like and share their post. Any kind of support is well appreciated to our local economy right now. All right. And our Tirana chapter chose this month's exploration of promise, and the talented Jolyn Marcutra illustrated the theme. And with that, let's get why we've all gathered here today. Alanah Nichole Davis is a mother of two, writer, curator, and performance artist from the Bronx, New York, based in Baltimore City. Her written works have been published in Baltimore Magazine, Baltimore Business Journal, Be More Art, Technically, Baltimore Times, and her contributions to the community have been bolstered several times by the Baltimore Sun. She's a current candidate for her Master's of the Arts in Social Design at the Maryland Institute of College of the Art, where she's set to graduate this year in 2021. If you haven't already, I really encourage you to read her entire bio on our website. Creative Mornings Baltimore, please help me welcome Alanah to the virtual hybrid stage.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Kira, and to the entire Creative Mornings Baltimore team for having me this morning. I am so excited to be here. I even wore this hat that's really like a burglar's mask, but I'm not going to show you because it will mess my hair up. I'm here to talk about promise, and there's something that I wrote about it, and I'm really excited to share it with you all. It's been a really interesting year, 2020, and an interesting beginning of this year. So I'm going to get right into a promise is a commitment by someone to do or not to do something. As a noun, promise means a declaration assuring that one will or will not do something. As a verb, it means to commit oneself by a promise to do or give. It can also mean a capacity for good. Traditionally, when we don't keep a promise to someone, it communicates to that person that we don't value him or her. At my kitchen table at around 3:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this past Wednesday, I had only those 86 words strewn across a stark white and empty Google Documents page on my silver Macintosh computer. I had only eaten 3 handfuls of dry orange, yellow, blue, red, and yellow hoop cereal, or as Kellogg's would have it, Fruit Loops, which despite their name, do not taste like fruit, but maybe more like fruit as it's spelled F-R-O-O-T. Hey Google, remind me to find the origin of fruit. I did all that cereal shoveling in bed just before and followed his number 3 recommended TV series for the month, Cobra Kai. It looked good, but the back of my eyelids looked better. I had spent about 15% of the night when I should have been asleep scouring social media as my personal Instagram had finally broken 5,000 followers. You can clap for me. It's this had finally happened because of post I made and was comprised of 46 words and a woozy faced emoji. I'll try to do the face, but and it read, 2021 is some pressure. You're expected to be a TikTok star, a Clubhouse influencer, an Instagram content creator, a full-time business owner. A full-time entrepreneur, trade stocks, start a second business with a $600 stimmy. I'm single, because and there were so many other things that I named in there, as well as be a civil rights activist and collect art. You don't get any special privileges at 5,000 followers on Instagram or anything, and I was already at about 750 followers last Friday. I'm not sure why, but over 300 new followers as a writer, from my words, worth staying up for. Amounts of posts just like this one that had gone viral, others that had gone viral, and some that hadn't. I had even archived something. This just doesn't show as much promise as I had initially thought. Admittedly, those initial 86 words were all copy and pasted from various websites after a really freaking desperate Google search on the word promise. I always suspect that even when the Google Doc wasn't shared with anyone, that there were little eyes watching me, something great of me. Seeing the promise in my sentences, even the ones I had backspaced through in the agony of my imposter syndrome and well-baked writer's block, which had gone into the oven just before Thanksgiving, it's still there. Before I arrived to navigate my way out of the promise I made to Kira and to you, to show up here today at Adorn Vintage Furniture at 8 a.m., well, now after 9, to deliver an eloquent speech about promise. I studied the sly tongue of the Black uncles and how they might say, I ain't even got it on me, cuz. And I even, I'm sorry, they might say, because I ain't even got it on me, to the famed white guilt cult of America's nonprofit sector, who might say something like, I didn't mean to offend you, or grab a time on my calendar and we can talk about my promise then, which to me was always code for, I don't care about how you feel, and I never intend to actually empathize. Why don't we, is it possible to say what we mean and actually deliver on it at a time like this? Why are we forcing it? Assurance is such a beautiful thing to give the people we know, love, and come into contact with here on Earth. What a positive and kind gesture to be able to give, to be able to receive. As we circle back, March, to it in all of its splendor, of being shoulder to shoulder with friends and breathing each other's air, I'm reminded of an African proverb that reads, beware of the naked man who offers you clothes. 2020 showed us all it's been through civil unrest, sickness in our land, financial crisis, loss of jobs on our backs, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, and even metaphysically, we are all probably feeling drained, in the process or on the precipice of feeling completely naked, having seemingly nothing left to give, and yet we posture. We position ourselves as experts consultants, directors, charged with being on earth is human, prone to flaws, prone to laying in bed, eating dry cereal, and watching a karate series because we are just tapped out. Why do we get on Zoom calls, come to meetings, promise to get together with friends, or act unafraid or too wise for social media? I admit that even cobbling these words together, two truths, not everyone feels naked. Some of us are really good at clothing ourselves, even when the world around us is stripping us of everything we once knew. Some of us are good at pretending. I'm not. I had a reverse proverb of my own. Beware of the man with cloth, for he desperately does not want to be naked. This world that we've built for ourselves at times, built on capitalism. Nakedness can actually be good at times. Making yourself bare and inspecting your body, your mind, and your spirit. Exposing your own truths, whether that be you're tired, just a bowl of Fruit Loops, or just need to stay home because of your crippling fear that you might contract a really deadly virus and die because to people at the grocery store, and that's making you anxious. It's been hard to find promise in a world like last year, this event would have had over 100 people at it in attendance at a roller rink with rich history and oxtails on fresh biscuits being served by black sauce biscuits. Please get those freaking biscuits. And so I came here today to make good on my promise. And I'll read them and you can repeat them at home or in your heart or in your mind. And the first is, be kind to yourselves. Stop watching the news. I'll say it again. Stop watching the news. Stop saying Trump's name. That's my last time, I promise. Stop asking of others what you wouldn't ask of yourself. You need to just take time to take care before you take care of community. That's the best thing you can do. Do not strip others of what they have to cover yourself. Move only if you feel like moving. Add almond milk to your grocery list so you don't have to eat dry cereal. That was for me. Stop promising. Pay Black women what they're worth. Stop texting him or her, and if it's for you, you know that's for you. Order from local restaurants. Tell your friends when you're scared. Be on social media less. Listen to music you like. Break when the last one is breathe, and we'll do that one together. So if you just want to, where you are, I'm feeling good. We're going to take a breath together on an inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And I hope that feels better. That's all the words I have to promise today. I'm really glad you guys tuned in. I'm hoping that you found some promise in some of the words that I said, and in some of that manifesto, and in some of the promises we made. If you can't make good on those promises, I promise.
Yay! Alanah! Love. Now it's time for our Q&A, folks. So if you're on Facebook or YouTube, first, I'm sorry if you're experiencing sound issues. So I want to acknowledge that we know about it, but also we're trying to fix it. But also I'm sorry, but thank you for sticking with us. But if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can go ahead and chat your questions directly underneath this feed, and then I can see them on this iPad and pop them on the screen. Technology, wow. Sound we can't figure out, but this we can. Jokes. But I'll start. Alanah, I know that we first talked about this about a month ago, this theme. Can you tell us a little bit of the journey you took with the word promise?
Yeah. I immediately I got excited, one, because I've always wanted to be here, like on the Creative Mornings couch or skate floor, like wherever you guys are at. It's always a super cool, just it seems like an expedition to get to even producing something like this. So I immediately wanted to write. I'm a writer, so I imagined myself filling a page with 3,000 words that I would say, and they would all be promising. And I was feeling optimistic, oh my gosh, I could really inspire folks today. And I just didn't get there. Like I said, I literally spent a couple of weeks just having nothing on my Google Documents page. And I think that that's something that a lot of people are facing today. I think a lot of people are at home with blank pages, wondering when the thoughts are going to come. A lot of the stress and the anxiety of just what's happening in the world kind of overtakes people. And it was overtaking me. And so while I was excited, I wasn't able to produce what I thought I would. And I think a lot of us are not able to produce what we thought we would be able to in the last year, maybe year and a half. And so I was excited to produce what I did, though. So, I mean, it was cool.
I mean, I think that you're speaking to a lot of things and a lot of people right now, and just how people are trying to measure their productivity, and that's how they measure themselves. And that is not how we really should be marking ourselves, especially right now in a pandemic and everything else that's happening in the now. Right. Which actually leads me to another question, or I just wanted to hear a little bit more from, I know you're really involved with Impact Hub. Yes. And actually, so related to kind of all of this, I think, is that Impact Hub celebrated Rest Fest. Yes. Could you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think everybody on the Impact Hub team, Impact Hub Baltimore is a nonprofit space. It's a co-working space that's located on North Avenue here in Baltimore. I've been a part of that space for about almost 5 years, I would say. And the space is just about that old, maybe 4 and some change for me. But we've all been just working and working at impact and social enterprise and just making strides to make sure that Baltimore City is better. For a couple of years now. Shout out to Nichole and Eric and Irene and the whole team and Sam. But we just felt like everybody needed a break. We didn't want to continue to plow through what felt just completely unnatural, to continue to work when it felt like our bodies needed rest. And so we started to cobble together what we thought would just be a manifesto or a list of things that people could do. And it ended up being an entire book that you can find, a booklet that you can find at the link in our bio. So if you follow Impact Hub _Baltimore on Instagram, you can see this Rest Fest guide where there's ways to breathe and meditate, books to read and songs to sing, all types of things that people can do at a time like this when things just don't feel as promising. So, yeah.
Yeah, totally. So I'm going to bring up a question right now from Kristen, who is over on the YouTubes. She is asking, how do you manage motherhood and work? Kind of related to all of that too.
Absolutely. Well, one thing I'm very blessed to have is a mother who lives in home with me. And so, I know that everybody doesn't have that. And so some of the ways that I am coping with being a mother, they are in school. I have 2 children. Their names are Blair and Harper. Hi, Blair and Harper. They're 8 and 6. And so, they're definitely doing virtual learning. And it's been overwhelming at times. Sometimes we have to take a break and maybe we just switch. I'm a co-parent. So sometimes they go to their dad's house, or, sometimes I might go to meditation or yoga or just something to really, making sure I'm taking care of myself first. And that's what I can encourage, even if you're just a parent of a cat or anything. I mean, an animal, a plant, you have to be able to take care of yourself first. If you're not hydrated and well rested and all of those things, Kira, we talked about water the other day. If you're not doing this, exactly. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself first. And whatever that means, buying yourself a new jumpsuit, a pair of tights, some sandals, a sock.
Alanah and I talked about both hydration and jumpsuits the other day. So then I'm going to throw it to another question coming from YouTube. This is from Marissa. As someone who is so talented at so many different things, how do you know what to do next or first?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. I attribute a lot of even just that talent to a higher power. I call it God. Some people call it the universe. Some people, call it many things. Whatever you worship. But I think a lot of my next steps, I can only listen to my spirit, and I can only listen to what's going on in my body. And if I don't feel like writing, I can't write. I don't write. If I feel like I can't organize events because it's going to be a danger to my community, I stopped doing that. And so I'm always just listening for something bigger than me, because it's not just about me. Some of the things that I do, I always like to bolster community first. I love to put community first. But first I need to put myself first. And so I always just kind of check in with those things. I check in with God, I check in with family, I check in with myself. And if I can do all of those things, then I can move forward with what I'm going to do.
All right, our next question comes from the Facebook. C. Woodward Law asks, Alanah mentioned imposter syndrome. It's something we all face, especially Black women. What words of advice can you share to move past that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a beautiful woman in community. Her name is Joyelle Arvea, and she talked to me a little bit about imposter syndrome probably over a year ago. And before that, I didn't even know what it was. But a lot of us have it where we're just feeling like we don't necessarily belong in a space, or you just feel like you're not up to the task, or you just feel like you really can't fill those shoes, or whatever that feeling might be. And so in order to combat that, you have to affirm yourself. And I'm big on affirmations. One of my favorite affirmations, and something I used to say every day on my Facebook and should probably get back to, is I am worthy and deserving of the love that the universe has for me. And that love could be anything: opportunities, people around you, healthy relationships, whether that be friendships or platonic or romantic or whatever it is. But just make sure that you're affirming yourself and making yourself firm in the fact that, like, you are amazing. I mean, look at you, you're breathing, you're walking, especially at a time like this. So yeah, just take pride in being you and being yourself. So.
Okay. Switch back to my camera. Cool. All right. Hi. I'm going to go ahead and bring up another question. This question is coming from the YouTube. It's from Evan. And they're replacing a battery on your camera right now. So I'll just talk a little right now. Actually, I'm going to uplift. Michelle has posted the link to the Rest Fest guide that Alanah was talking about. So there is that link right now on your screen. The battery is exhausted. We are all exhausted. It's all a metaphor right now, y'all. It's like, this is just where we are at in 2021. The new year didn't come and change all this. This is still where we are. But yeah, the battery is getting some rest and getting replaced. We're good? We're good? Okay, cool. So our next question coming from Evan at YouTube is, how do you find the balance between surrender and discipline with writing?
Yeah, I think a way to answer this is just to say, to let things be. I have a lot of really amazing writers around me, as well as many examples of folks who I look to when I am writing. But also, we all know, I think, as writers, that sometimes when it's just not flowing, it's just not flowing. And you have to surrender to the process, that the fact that the words aren't coming is the work. It's like, sometimes you have to live through a couple of moments. I know sometimes, when I need to write something, if I know I have 2,500 words due on, the topic of really cool beanies, sometimes I might need to see 10 beanies before I even have an inkling of what I'm going to put on the page. And so I have to go live my life. Being a writer, a lot of times we can be reclusive. We sit on our laptops. We have our notepads, or whatever your medium might be. And a lot of times you might sit around just for hours, or, for days sometimes, trying to think of something. But you just have to be able to surrender to the process, that sometimes the words aren't there, and they're not going to be there until you go live in the gaps of what you're writing.
If you have more questions, let's have them, y'all. But I can ask a question while you guys are thinking of them some more. So one of the things that we didn't even talk about in your talk, but what you've done and been so instrumental in, when the pandemic first started, you started a mutual aid effort. And I think that a lot of like, this is a personal hot take, which isn't like too original, but mutual aid is really what's making a difference right now in this pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think, if you want to tell us a little bit more about the effort that you spearheaded early on.
Absolutely. So I feel like it might have been in March that I came up with the idea. I realized that because I did it specifically, it was Alanah's COVID-19 fund, emergency fund for artists and freelancers. I did it because a lot of people were getting cancellations of shows, venues were closing. It was very early on in the pandemic. Nobody knew where money was coming from. I have a lot of artist friends. I come from that lane myself where I'm a performance artist. And so I would say back in like 2015 is when I initially quit my job as an emergency room nurse technician. I was working at a couple of hospitals in Baltimore. This is when the murder rate was really high. I was seeing a lot of death, a lot of degradation. I was feeling really depressed myself. And so I started an open mic called Much More Than an Open Mic in that year. And that's when I really realized that like expression was so key for community. It was so pivotal for my own life. And so I spent a couple of years really building community. I've met people like you and Mario and everybody in the Creating This Morning team because of my being in community in that way, and was able to start to pick up and consult nonprofits on like building community like Impact Hub Baltimore. But because of that, my heart was so close to the matter in knowing that my friends wouldn't have money, and knowing that, people might have been evicted, but it was bigger than that because, I was only giving out $100 max and was able to do that with a little over 100 people. And that's not a lot, but it was really more about affirming that there was a presence there. Whether it be me, I talked to every single person that I gave money to, whether it was on Instagram DMs, phone calls, just knowing that somebody had their back at a really difficult time when there was a lot of uncertainty, and still there is a lot of uncertainty. There still is. So I'm still literally talking to people. I'm still sliding people cash. It's like an ongoing thing. And so I'm always looking for ways to continue to grow that. And foundations weren't working really quickly. So it really just started at like the person to person level. And it was really important for me to do that. So, yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. It's so important. And it's true because I think like big institutions like foundations, they have a hard time pivoting, but it's like these mutual aid efforts that really kind of are so critical to like really supporting our communities. Yeah. All right. So we have another question coming from YouTube. How do you determine when something is finished? Sometimes I continue to write and write and write until I hate it and then destroy it. Tips, please.
Of course. Well, what I will say is nothing is ever finished. We don't necessarily live in a finite world. We live in an infinite world. And so, every time we are writing, especially, we have to make sure that we're just being open to the fact that like more words might come. I've been working on an essay. There's a writer in Baltimore. His name is D. Watkins. A lot of people know him. He's an editor for a major publication online called Salon. I've published a couple of essays with them. I've been working on a third. He always tells me that like sometimes you might do like 20 edits, and being open to that process of just, being sharpened by another iron. So sometimes it's another set of eyes. So if you have someone else read your work, they might tell you, you need to tweak it a little bit. You need to fill in these spaces. So get you a friend like a D. Watkins, or it doesn't have to be a D. Watkins.
Get you D. Watkins. Okay.
Just DM D. Watkins. No. He's so mad right now. Don't do that. But just find a friend. Find a friend who you can, who you can rely on. Another writer. DM me. Get you a me. How about that? 2021. Find you a friend like Alanah. I'll help people. Like if whoever's
you have to
asking
put up
this,
some boundaries though too.
I have to put up some boundaries also. So like, I help as many people as I can. My emails, my DMs, everything's always open. I love to help people. It's a positive and a negative sometimes.
I mean, that's so generous. Yeah. But I want you all to also respect Alanah's like bandwidth and space too. But I do want to bring up another question coming from YouTube. What do you love about creating in Baltimore? And what, if anything, do you find challenging or frustrating? P.S. You look amazing this morning.
Thank you. Baltimore is a spirit. To me, Baltimore is not just a place, it's like a feeling. And I remember moving here when I was 8 years old. I find magic in everything. When I was living in the Bronx, I was pretty small, but I just remember the smells, the sights, wearing jellied sandals and like dragging my feet across the pavement. There were so many little things, and Baltimore is the same way. And so growing up here, taking trips to the inner harbor, like with your friends, and just the rancid smell of the harbor, and the way the way the guys treat you. It's really they're so generous. People are so nice here. There's such a tone to this city that I don't think can really be duplicated. I love serving Baltimore. I love working in Baltimore. I love the people in Baltimore. I see myself making this a home for a really long time. I hope to get away from it, because I think it is important to get away from this frequency sometimes. But I do really love working here. It's a joy.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. It's just I think that the question wasn't asked of me, but I'm going to answer it in part. That there's people like you who are incredible, doing amazing, incredible stuff, but you're at the same time, you're like, go ahead and slide into my DMs. It's just such an accessible community.
Yeah.
It's not impenetrable. Everybody can be part of the creative communities in Baltimore in a very easy and accessible and friendly way.
Absolutely.
Which I love. So our next question, do you advise folks to give family and friends advance notice when they're taking self-rest?
Yes and no. I say yes because, it's courteous. It's kind to say, I'm going to be taking a step back, either from social media or just from you right now, or whatever that might be. In the last 2 months, I've done that a couple of times, from a couple of friends, from a couple of family members. You just have to, for yourself, sometimes for your sanity, so that you can continue to do your work. So sometimes you could say, hey, friend, hey, family member, you're really getting on my nerves. I need to take a little bit of space. Or you could just say, I really need to do this for me. Whatever your reason is, being transparent is really key. I like to encourage honesty. And so, if there is some sort of a problem or friction betwixt you and another person, an organization, or whatever it is, make sure you're making that clear, and you're not just going to take the space and come back to that very same thing. So I would say do the work in that way, but also you don't know anybody's shit, excuse my French. So if you need to take a step back and you don't want to say anything, and you're just comfortable being under your rock, and you want to come back and try to repair everything afterward, then cool. Either way, you're human, and you deserve to have space and breath and time and opportunity to just be with yourself.
Oh, absolutely. It's those boundaries.
Yeah.
So Mario told me to look this way, which I'm now not looking at Alanah, and it feels very weird, but it is
Camera right.
All right, I'm looking not at you, and it feels strange, but I guess before you were just looking at the side of my face.
I've been swip swapping
So here we are. But I do have another question for you.
Yes.
You had mentioned in that tweet that went viral in your talk about how you have to be everything, right? And in one of those things, you mentioned something that I feel like such an old, but what is Clubhouse?
Clubhouse is new. Clubhouse is probably from the underworld, I'm finding. But Clubhouse is an audio only social media app. So you're getting on, it's invite only as well. So you can only get in if you have a friend in there and they invite you, or you download it and then it'll alert a friend that's already in there that you're in there, and that friend has to let you in. And there are people who are not letting people in, I promise you. I've been charging $100 per invite because I just like to monetize things, and I like to see how quick. But that is what Clubhouse is. It kind of looks like imagine kind of like a digital hallway of conversations. There's just all of these different conversations. It could be late night where people are having really inappropriate sexually charged rooms, or it could be in the daytime where it's talking about business and nonprofits and there's all kinds of. Have you guys played Among Us yet?
Yes.
Okay. There's rooms where you would play Among Us and everybody's out loud talking to each other. But it's a really cool app. It's definitely Gen Z millennial territory for sure. And I think it's best paired with other things like TikTok and all the other gadgets that the kids are getting into. I'm turning 30 this year, so I feel like I'm getting out of that.
So
but
young.
I'm so young, but I'm also
So then I have one last question for you, Alanah. How do people keep it up with you? Like, what's going on? What's next? Like, tell us what's going on with you.
Yeah.
How people can follow you.
I'm gonna continue to write this year. If you didn't tune into any of what I was writing last year, then you can find a lot of that, all of it at the link in my bio. You can follow me on Instagram at Alanah has entered the chat. It's Alanah spelled Alanah. You can find it on the Creative Mornings website. And then all of the links to that. There's so many writings that I plan on doing this year. I'm looking forward to continuing my process as like an essayist. I would love to, do more public talking and speaking like I'm doing right now, because it just gives me an opportunity to connect with community in a way that we just haven't been able to before. So definitely follow me. I'm always posting on Twitter and screenshotting that and putting on Instagram and going viral. I'm just a sensation. So. I would really love to just stay connected to you all, and I'm really glad I had an opportunity to talk to you all this morning. So,
yay! Yeah. Thank you, Alanah. So I didn't give you a heads up about this, but I actually let's create a selfie moment with Alanah right now. So if you're at home, take a photo with our wonderful speaker today, Winston Henley. If you could focus back on Alanah for just a moment, strike some poses, do some. It's perfect.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah, stay hydrated, y'all. Stay hydrated. Okay, so we are near the end. I want to remind you one more time about our global sponsor, Skillshare, offering 1 month free. Henley, can you pop that banner back up? Make sure you sign up by Sunday, January 31st, in order to take advantage of this generous offer. And please save the date for next month's talk on Friday, February 26th, where we'll be welcoming the Hot Sauce Collective to the virtual stage to speak on the theme of Divergent. Again, we'd love to see what this all looks like on your end, so please tag us when posting on social media. That's Baltimore_CM. And we want to close out today with something that Alanah really brought to us too, and just have some like intentional breathing together. So let's just do a couple breaths. I invite you to close your eyes if you want. Maybe place your hands on your heart, put them on your lap, whatever is really comfortable. So here we go. Breathe in and out. And again, in and out. And last time, in and out. Thank you again for being here. We know that this can't replace the magic of an in-person event. We hope that you feel connected and part of this community, and we'll see you with the Hot Sauce Collective on February 26th. Thanks, y'all. Yeah.